Welcome to another riveting episode of the Show. We're two or three geeks who talk about everything. My name is Aaron. I'm joined once again by guest co-hosts Nicole and her daughter Gabby. Say hi, y'all. You can speak.
Hi.
This
Yes,
is
hello.
She was silent first. She looked like a mime.
podcasts are boring if half of the audience doesn't participate.
We're not the audience.
Yeah, we're not the
We're the
audience.
hosts. The
Oh,
co-hosts.
whatever. If 2/3 of the hosts don't participate in the conversation, then it's a boring podcast.
That's
But
true.
you know what? It very well could be a boring podcast when all three of us participate. So
Nuh-uh.
that's for the audience to decide.
It's only boring when I don't participate.
Oh man, that's like 99% of the episodes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was at Gabby's suggestion or insistence, maybe, that we cover Hamilton on today's episode. So we're going to dive into what has become a genuine cultural phenomenon. When this musical first hit the scene in 2015, it took the theater world by storm, and its popularity has really only grown since then. Have either of you had a chance to see this on stage anywhere, like in a touring, or if you happen to be in New York and shelled out the $500 for a ticket on Broadway?
Did
No.
you? And I didn't know about it?
No, but I wish.
No, I've yet to see it.
Yeah, I've only seen it thanks to Disney Plus.
Yes.
And the film version they put on there. And I do have the soundtrack downloaded to my Spotify account.
So do I.
So that's there as well. The music is a unique blend of like show tunes and hip hop. Lin-Manuel Miranda weaves a lot of history and politics into these catchy songs, and it's really impressive.
Mhm.
What are some of your favorite numbers from the show?
Wait for it.
That's not your only favorite song.
Okay.
We
Wait
can-
for Dear Theodosia.
She loves Theodosia.
I love Wait for It.
I know you do, but
And
you sing Dear Theodosia a lot.
yeah, and probably how does that one go? Nonstop. Or the one where it's like, why do you ride like you're running out of time? Is that nonstop? What's that?
I don't know what the name of that one is.
Ride day and night like you're running out of time.
Is that?
What's that one called?
I don't know a lot of the titles.
I don't either. I had them pulled up
I
so
just
that
listen to it.
I would, because I don't know the one that I like. That is it. The One Shot, is that the one you said?
One shot. Oh, the I am not throwing away my shot.
My Shot.
Yeah.
But I also like
That
the
is a good
intro.
one.
I like the Alexander Hamilton song.
Honestly, all of the ones with King George as well.
Oh yeah,
You know,
the
even
ones
when
with
he
King George.
aggressively spits on me as I'm watching it. But I still love it.
Well, what the problem is,
You'll be back.
is that I start to gag when he does that. So
I start to laugh.
you do, yeah. I gag. It makes me gag. It's disgusting, but
It's
he does.
hilarious.
It is hilarious. It is so funny. I was just like,
I mean,
oh.
you commit to that part too. Like he is fully in it. He doesn't wipe his mouth. That spit just
He
remains
commits.
on his lips the rest of the song. And it's just like,
on his coat. Oh, it's so gross.
yeah.
What is the other song that they do that's like
There's the list of them.
whoa, like they do the whoa. You will never be satisfied. Oh, I like Satisfied too. I like all of them.
Yeah. As I was rewatching it today, listening to all the different songs, I guess they grow on you the longer you listen to it.
Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. Jefferson's So What Did I Miss? I love that part. That's one of my favorite parts.
What the one that was just on where
Burn.
where she burns the letters.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
a power song.
Uh,
Yeah. There's just a lot of good music. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why it's a popular musical.
Yeah.
As it's satisfied.
Yeah. Now I think you and I already talked about this. I don't know that we talked about it with Gabby. Yes, it's a good musical, but the tunes are not catchy like they were coming out of The Greatest Showman. You have to admit, those songs with The Greatest Showman, you go out and you're still singing them in your head.
I disagree. I don't ever have the Greatest Showman soundtrack stuck in my head the way that I have the Hamilton soundtrack.
That is not true, because when we used to watch it all the time, the Zac Efron duet with Hugh Jackman, y'all would sing that.
That's not the equivalent to it being stuck in my head.
Whatever.
Like Hamilton is, I'm at school and I'll start going like, the 10 commandment. Like I'll just start doing that out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I do. You can ask all my friends.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't watch Hamilton until this past year. I watched it with my ex-boyfriend, and that's how I got introduced to it, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And then I introduced this musical to one of my closest friends the other day, and now she's been listening to the soundtrack like nonstop. So
and while,
no pun intended.
While we're talking about that, this is how I'll know whether or not she listens to your podcast. Let me give props to my favorite daughter-in-law, who knew that I love The Greatest Showman, and when this came out on Disney Plus, was like, you have to watch it, you're gonna love it. So Lana Green, I love you for introducing me to Hamilton.
I really thought you saw Hamilton way before Lana recommended it to you.
I did not see it until Lana told me to watch it. So this is how we'll know, Aaron, if
Lana,
any of the Thundering Herd supports the podcast.
Well, they should be listening to it every week, whether you're on it or not. I'm very funny.
I'm supporting it right now. So
you might be the only person who thinks you're funny.
No, that's not true.
I know
you
it's
think
not.
I'm hilarious.
I do think you're hilarious, but that's because I get you.
Aaron, so
okay,
So people who get me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's talk about the casting that represents America today rather than how it would have strictly been like historical figures. So you've got all this racial diversity of the show that kind of allows different audiences to picture themselves in the roles like in a way that they wouldn't have seen in previously portrayed versions of the founding fathers, because they're all a bunch of old white dudes. So that makes it harder to help, I guess, help other individuals to get a grasp of American history, because basically we like to whitewash American history and make it to where it's this I don't know, happy version of events that's just not necessarily the truth. We paint our founding fathers in this legendary status. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. We were talking about President's Day, actually, and so that led down this rabbit hole of talking about George Washington, and he was like, I remember when I was in school, like for President's Day, it was like Washington's birthday or something, and we would always have cherry pie at lunch because of the whole cherry tree thing. And I was like, well, actually that whole cherry tree thing never happened. It was just an urban legend that came about to try and make George Washington look like he was an honest person from the age of whatever on. We do what?
He was racist.
Well, I mean, he did own slaves.
Yeah.
So we've got this version of American history that we like to teach kids in elementary school, but then the truth of it is there's a lot of gray area. It's not just a simply black and white thing. It's a lot of compromise. And you think about it, if these men and women who were taking part in the revolution had lost, they would have been brought up on charges of treason. I saw your mom just walk by there. Does she want to join in?
Mom, the blankets are in the ottoman right here. So keep going. So it would have been for treason.
Right. So yeah, they would have obviously been hanged, drawn and quartered,
Yeah.
whatever the crown sought to do to these leaders in America, and make examples of them. You don't go against the crown.
Right.
So, hey, good thing we won.
But and I was thinking about this. I had asked Aaron to send me some questions to get my mind thinking about the musical. And you had asked, or one of the questions was about the diversity of the cast. And do you know that when I first watched it, I didn't think anything of it that
Mom's not racist.
Well, no, I'm just saying I love Leslie Odom as Aaron Burr. I loved him. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think of it any other way, so it wasn't until you asked me that question and then you just started talking about that, like, that's kind of a cool thing that all kinds of people can picture themselves in this story.
Yeah. I thought Daveed Diggs was great as Jefferson.
Yeah,
yes.
As Jefferson.
Oh my gosh.
I think I know he played Lafayette in the first half too, but like I think for me, he's like my favorite actor in the show.
Yes.
Really?
I just think he does such a great job.
Oh, because I really like Leslie Odom, and I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays George Washington.
Oh, shoot. I can't remember his name.
I have IMDb.
No, but the Lafayette Jefferson.
Chris Jackson.
What's his name? Dweed?
Who played
Daveed.
Daveed, yeah.
Daveed Diggs, yeah.
I love him. Oh my freaking Lafayette.
But I really liked the guy who played George Washington.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really great job. But I thought they all did a really great job.
I think about it now that I've seen it on Disney Plus, and with this is the original cast. If I were to see it, like if a touring show were to come through Roanoke or something,
I would be disappointed.
I would.
Yeah.
Because I know there's no way they'd be able to live up to Lin-Manuel Miranda as Alexander Hamilton, or all of the original cast it's pitch perfect, and that's what you're used to. You're used to hearing that in the original Broadway recording. You're used to seeing it on the Disney Plus filmed version, and so when it comes to, it would almost be like, I know they're professionals, but it would feel like I'm going into amateur theater.
Right. Agreed. Now, Newsies. Newsies. Have you ever seen Newsies with Christian Bale when he was younger?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of my favorite musicals when it came out. Newsies. And a few years ago, one of those touring companies came through and I got to go see it. And I will say, I was leery because of how much I love the original Newsies. It wasn't Christian Bale, but it still had the same energy. So as I was thinking about it today, because you know me, I like things on a big screen, right? I love sitting at home in front of the TV with my sound bar and listening to Hamilton, because the sound and the picture, I can see it. I've seen quite a number of different things in the theater. I've seen Cats, I've seen Les Mis, I've seen Cinderella, took the girls to see Mamma Mia. Mm-hmm. And as fun as it is to go in person, it's so far away because I have to buy the cheap seats. I can't afford the up close seats, that I think my preference would be to be able to sit here and enjoy Hamilton where they're right here close and I can turn up my sound bar as loud as I want it and watch it that way. Because I really feel like I would be disappointed sitting in the theater trying to watch it. Even if I could, somebody's going to not agree with me, but even if I could see the original cast, I still think I would be disappointed because I can't afford the fancy seats up close. I would have to be in the cheap seats.
You wouldn't be able to afford the cheap seats on Broadway.
Well, right.
They're crazy expensive.
So I would always just have to be happy with my television and my soundbar.
I don't disagree with that because I think concerts are overrated.
Yeah, that can be true too.
There's too many people.
Yeah, and there's too many people. Yes, absolutely. And do you remember, I didn't know who, Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Yes.
When we went to see Mary Poppins, remember? I loved I didn't know who he was before that. I don't know if he had ever done anything. And when I saw that he was Alexander Hamilton, I was stoked because he was fantastic as Jack in Mary Poppins Returns. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know the dude could sing, and he killed, like, he was so great.
I didn't know who he was till I watched Tick Tick Boom and realized that he was the one behind the music.
And Tick Tick Boom too?
Yeah.
And In the Heights?
Yeah. In the Heights, he did the music for Moana.
Oh yeah, Moana. Mm-hmm.
He's really talented.
He's very talented.
Pretty sure he did Tick Tick Boom. Now I need a fact.
Well, I know that there's a lot of people in Hamilton that were in Tick Tick Boom. I looked it up today. Have you seen Tick Tick Boom?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I loved it.
But I did read today that he's friends with, what's his name from House?
Jesse.
Oh, who's the main guy from House? Is it Greg Laurie? Is that his name?
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Russ Hamilton.
Oh yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda was director of
Tick Tick Boom.
Tick Tick Boom.
But it took him, I think it said like 6 years to write Hamilton.
See.
But he was on set. I think it said he was on set with Hugh Laurie while he was filming House. And he made a statement, one line. Now I can't remember what the one line was. And that's what set off everything else he wrote for Hamilton. I thought I took a screenshot. I was trying to look to see if I did, so I could be more precise. Which I thought was kind of.
What the line was?
I'm looking. Keep talking.
To go back on the little whitewashing comment, when you talk about history, I was thinking about this. Well, when you first said that, I was thinking about Jesus. It is a very common thing for us to whitewash history. That's what the one thing I really like about The Chosen, like, you know, the show on Hulu. Yeah, and like it shows Jesus as being Middle Eastern, as
Middle Eastern, yeah.
As he should be, but then you look up Jesus and there's that painting of a white Jesus with like the European nose and like facial features, and I'm just like,
there's high cheekbones,
yeah,
like the straight back brownish auburn hair.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't even.
It's surprised they don't just give him blue eyes and be done with it.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
Have you I don't know if you have this book, but do you have the Hamilton book written by what's his name?
No.
Ron. Okay, well, I bought it last summer so I could read it. And the whole reason I bought it was the introduction to the book is talking about Eliza Hamilton. I did take a screenshot of this because I wanted to remember this. So it starts out talking about how when anybody ever came to her home, she would allow people to come through and see like relics of Alexander Hamilton. She had like a bust of him. She had his writings. And she was determined to share his story, but she told her kids that she wanted justice shall be done to the memory of my Hamilton. That's what she called it. That was her Hamilton. And just how much she loved him and recognized him for who he was.
A cheater.
There was so much more to him than that. But isn't that what we do?
He was in politics.
Let's say that again.
He was in politics.
So. He was in politics, yeah.
Extramarital affairs are nothing new.
Well, but she wanted that. She wanted people to remember him for the good things that he did. And and so at one point it talks about that she would have people in her home and they would play cards and things like that. Somebody found her in a room sitting by herself, and she was just like, I'm ready to be with him again. I'm ready to be with my Hamilton. And as I read that, I just cried, because you forget he was somebody's husband. He was somebody's father. Like he mattered to somebody, because, you know, Jefferson and Burr, they really tried to take the man down and paint him in a bad light. um, so anyway, I can't find my thing about Greg Laurie. I mean Hugh Laurie, sorry. Greg Laurie, that's the pastor, isn't it? Greg Laurie.
I don't know who that is.
House's first name was Greg.
Whose?
House. Hugh
It
Laurie
was
played Greg. Yeah, Gregory House.
Laurie.
But his name on the show was Greg.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
When I was watching Hamilton again with my friend, I had really had a step out of body moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like these are real people, right? And obviously the musical is not down to the T of who they were, but just realizing that this isn't just like some little fiction singing songs. Like this is literally historical figures. And the only reason that we even have the musical is from Eliza herself, for even though like Alexander wronged her or whatever, still is like, I'm gonna share your story. She's like a whole song dedicated to that.
Really?
Yeah, it's like at the end. She's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just can't. I guess it's when they do Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, and her whole verse is. I'm gonna look up the lyrics.
So Hugh Laurie gave him the idea for the song "You'll Be Back." So he mentioned to Laurie he was trying to write a breakup letter from King George to the colonies, and without blinking, he improv'd at me, "You'll be back."
Oh, I put
That's
myself
good.
back in the narrative.
That's what, who said that?
Well, that's what Eliza says. And she's like, I stopped wasting time on tears. I live another 50 years. Blah, 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 blah. I interview every soldier who fought by your side.
Yeah.
I try to make sense of your thousands of pages of writing. Yeah, like we tell your story. I raise funds in DC for the Washington Monument. I speak out against slavery. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will they tell your story? That's just interesting.
Mm. But that's what she did. Like that's what's in that book. It seems
And
like they
again,
have a great love story.
another good thing about this, this story is it's not just showing the good things about Alexander Hamilton and the people around him. Like it's showing that the work of building America was dirty, and these people were not perfect. And so I appreciate that we're not just getting some history book with little blurbs about, oh well, Washington cut down a cherry tree and then told his father the truth about it.
Right.
He was a great general and he was a great president, and that's all you hear. But in something like this, in an actual biography, you get the good and the bad. Again, all those gray areas where people make compromises to accomplish their goals.
Right.
So I again just think that's fascinating that they are able to take this one man story and just build this incredible show around it. It's great.
And I like what you said, because I hadn't thought about it that way in terms of like this generation. It's not just entertainment. When they step back and look at it and go, this isn't just another musical. This isn't just The Greatest Showman, something to entertain. This is real life. Like,
and when I was watching it, because I'm in my A push class, my AP US history class. So like I've already talked about the building of America, whatever. I already know everything about it, or what most of whatever. I know most of it. So rewatching the musical, I could actually like put pieces together. I knew the time period. I knew what happened before Hamilton. I knew what happened after it. Like I knew who the people were. It was weird.
it's weird.
Yeah, because the first time I watched it, I had no idea. Like, who's Lafayette? I just know that we have like a place named after him. Lafayette.
The place is named after him.
Oh, that's not named after him. That's named after France. A place in France.
Yeah, but Lafayette's from France.
Oh well, Mag. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of places in America are named Lafayette in honor of Lafayette.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's a Lafayette Boulevard here in Roanoke. You don't want to be there after dark though.
After dark. Yeah. Yeah. And I also read that a lot of the stuff from the musical was inspired by the West Wing.
Oh, really?
I read that too. I thought that was interesting because I don't know if you and I have talked about that, but that's a great show. And the writing in that is fantastic. And so he took certain scenes from the show and different lines in the show and tweaked them to fit into some of the songs.
Anything done by Aaron Sorkin is brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. I was trying to think if I had anything else.
So apparently the show has over $1 billion in ticket sales, which seems staggering, but I can't imagine that's too difficult to hit that number when your cheap tickets are over $100
Yeah.
and you play to a sellout crowd of 8 times a week, 2 shows on Sundays,
Yeah.
1 a night the rest of the week. But at the same time too, it shows how Hamilton's crossed over from a theater sensation to this mainstream pop culture fixation that pretty much everyone has latched onto. And everyone
who still hasn't seen it, just FYI.
Do what?
Except for my mother who still hasn't seen it.
Get on that. You got Disney Plus, right?
Yeah. No. Oh, yes, they do.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. It's like this thing there. Everyone wanted to be in the room where it happens and experience Hamilton for themselves. I was even on board with that. Like the first time I heard the soundtrack, I was like, I would really like to see this. Of course, this was already after it was super popular. This was probably 2 years into the Broadway show, and at this point, it's already hundreds of dollars to get a ticket. And I'm like, well, I can't afford to go to New York and get a ticket, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But beyond like the music and the performances, how do you think that this has resonated, or why do you think it's resonated so deeply with audiences and with our culture at large?
Are you letting me answer first? Personally, I think it's the casting, honestly, just the willingness of the casting like director, whatever, to have that diverse of a group, whatever, and put more representation out there probably speaks volumes to a lot of people, as in this is probably a step towards another direction in the production industry. Broadway industry? Yeah, entertainment industry. I'm tired. I mean, and the music itself it's addicting. Respectfully, it's very addicting, and it's also educational. Like before I even watched the entire musical, they showed us clips of it in school to go over basic concepts, like the Battle of Yorktown or whatever. There's like a whole song in Hamilton about it, right? And I had first watched that scene in 7th grade.
Really?
8th grade. 8th grade. So it was during COVID. Yep.
Here's what's great for your generation. You guys get Hamilton as your musical to learn about. No. When I was in high school, when we got to watch a musical about the American Revolution, we watched 1776. Okay.
I don't know what that is.
It's a musical.
It is a musical. It stars Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. He plays John Adams. It is an experience that I think you should have at least once in your life. Because it is no Hamilton.
It is no Hamilton. No. And I think he was smart in the way he did his songs, using like hip hop and
like he completely modernized it and made it accessible for audiences, and like Gabby pointed out, especially for students today to be able to connect more deeply with history. It's brought more people to arts, culture, and even politics. And, these are areas that need more passionate voices in our world today. I mean, aside from the baby boomer generation, who seem to be the only ones who want to run for president ever. And
Right.
then, they're aging out of it, but nobody younger is taking up the reins. And so, the hope I have is that people like Gabby will grow up and care about this country. But,
Impressive.
it seems
Ew.
like that's a minority kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
So as we wrap up, what would you say is Hamilton's legacy? How has it fundamentally shifted musical theater and representation in the arts?
How has
The musical itself.
yeah
Yeah.
how has that affected arts? Low key, it's kind of just set a whole new standard because you have the most intricate set, the most like the very alluring costumes and stuff, like the music, the choreography. There's so much happening. There's so much thought put into it. There's sorry, this is kind of like a little rant. One of the dancers in Hamilton actually went from my school. She's a Wake Forest alumni, and if you watch her throughout the play, I forgot what her name is. It starts with an A. It's like Andrea. I don't know, but if you watch her throughout the entire musical, you'll come to see that she kind of represents death in a way. Wherever she goes, someone's dying. Like whenever you see her and she comes dancing on screen, someone's about to die. It's kind of cool. I didn't realize it until I watched it for the second time, but it's kind of cool. I don't. I just feel like Hamilton's it's got a lot of depth to it, and I don't see myself watching another recording of like a Broadway musical ever. Like a recording the way that Hamilton is.
The Hamilton is.
Yeah, I don't see myself being able to watch one that's not Hamilton.
That's not Hamilton. Yeah. And it's kind of like what we talked about with Knight's Tale, where they used modern music to bring out more emotion, get people excited. And Hamilton, just even the dancing, like if you were to do the dance moves of that time period, it would have been boring. But like they're straight up doing some hip hop out there with their hip hop songs. And the settings and stuff are not overly elaborate. It's not over the top. It's very simple. The focus is on the cast and the music and the movement. And all of it plays a part. Like for me, it just changed the way I look at musicals, at theater. When I think of the different ones that I've seen, like you don't need all of that. You have a good cast, you've got good music and people moving, and you're telling a story. And the way he tells the story, he originally was writing a script until they sang Alexander Hamilton. And he said once they did Alexander Hamilton, he realized, I don't want that to end. I don't want the flow of the music to end. And he started redoing it. And I thought that was why. I think that's a smart move. I love that it's just song after song after song. I love it. Do you like it that way? That it's like back-to-back songs like that?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even notice it when I watched it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't notice the lack of words of speaking.
Yeah.
I really just remember the rap that Philip does. He's like, Philip, I just turned 9. You can write rhymes, but you can't write mine. Like,
Yeah. That's good stuff.
And then he kicks it up a notch with the next verse. All right. Well, Gabby, Nicole, thank you so much for being a part of this show once again. Glad we were able to cover something that's more exciting to you than the Wizard of Oz was.
Thank you.
This has been a very engaging chat about one of the most important Broadway shows in decades. So thanks again for lending your perspectives. I appreciate it. All right, listeners, viewers, whatever you're doing, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay tuned for our next podcast breakdown Until next time, have a great whatever it is, wherever you are.